joy, my King, in what you hear. Let it be a sweet, sweet sound in your ear. Let it be. Let it be a sweet, sweet sound in your ear. One more time, Derek. Let it be. Let it be a sweet, sweet sound in your ear. Sounds nice from up here, doesn't it?
Very nice.
Very nice. We get the whole
Sweet,
thing
sweet sound.
this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of our Langham originals next. Just fake it till you make it. So which is kind of what the song's about. Thoughts of love aren't enough. Dreams of peace fall away. Where do I even start? What should I say? What should I say? I am one lost in love. You are everything. What can I do? How should I sing? How should I sing? How should I sing to you when you're so good and true? You know the things we do. How should I sing to you? How should I sing to you when you already know every last high and low? How should I sing to you? I am one deep in love. You are everything. Show me all that there is. I wanna sing. I wanna sing. How should I sing to you when you're so good and true? You know the things we do. How should I sing to you? How should I sing to you when you already know every last high and low? How should I sing to you? Is there a line? Is there a verse? Is there a sign here in this church? Is there a line? One single word? What will I find here in this church? One more time. Is there a line? Is there a verse? Is there a sign here in this church? Is Is there a line, one single word? What will I find here in this church? Be seated, beautiful people.
Big welcome to everybody here this morning on this lovely sunny day. Awesome to be together and enjoy it together. There's just a few little things that I wanted to share with you, and there's a couple of slides to go with them because slides, photos of what's been happening is always helps to bring you into the space. We started Friday Club this week. This is Andrew's group on Friday, and we had another group in the pavilion, and it was a good start. So Andrew and Josh did really well, and we got underway, and that was awesome. So keep praying for Friday Club, keep praying for our children and our intermediates that come on Fridays, because there's a lot of development happening in that space, and some challenges as well. So keep praying for Josh and for Andrew in that. Yesterday, the elders and I had a special time. You might recognise where that is. I'm sure that some people will recognise where this is. This is at the top of Jackie's Peak. We had an elders retreat, and there's another slide there, Aria. Yep. We had an elders retreat, and part of it, we walked up Jackie's Peak, and we had like a meditational walk thinking about Psalm 27 and what that helps us to claim about trusting God in our own lives and for our church. And the elders, as elders, we prayed for the church, for you people, and for the life that's happening here. So just want to say how grateful I am to our fantastic group of elders who are very dedicated and really holding you in this space, in their prayers and in their love and in their care. So thank you, elders. It was actually a really good day. Ken is kindly agreed to do some writing for us in our local magazine, The Roundabout. The Roundabout goes free to all homes in this area right out to Huia. But some people here probably don't get The Roundabout, so we always put a copy of what our church has put into it on the notice board out there. So if you want to read Ken's first Roundabout page, which is on Coffee and Company, and also on the men's breakfast, go and have a read of it out there. And really grateful to Ken. He did a fantastic job of that, and he's offered to help to keep the things that we do in front of our community so people know what's available for them to be part of. Now, birthdays. Any birthdays? Any anniversaries? Pat, how many years? 49. So next year is that gold? 50? Gold? A bit better than chocolate. Over here, there's a birthday. Kieran, was it your birthday? And what did you do to celebrate? What did your dad do to celebrate his birthday? Did he have a party? Did he have a dinner? Oh, you went to a park and you had a birthday cake by the sounds of it. That sounds so lovely. Good to celebrate birthdays. Is there any other things that people wish to share with each other at this point? Otherwise?
Just in case you want to help with the roundabout, we're collating it on Wednesday morning up at the hall. Lorraine cooks the
Langhome Hall.
morning tea.
Yes, we have lots of people here in this church that help to actually make the roundabout happen. And Kevin is a key part of that. Now, we have Jenny, who is sharing with us this morning. Thank you so much, Jenny.
Am I allowed to steal a stand and a shoe and a stool?
Yes. Dan, do you mind putting the stand up?
Can I? Yeah. Can I sit as well?
Yes, you can sit as well.
We'll have to be lower if I'm going to sit.
You want us to see your face?
Oh, no, I won't be able to read
Are you
mine.
going to stand or sit?
Don't go away, Alison. You have to pray for me first.
Very grateful to Jenny that she has been willing to share with us what God's put on her heart. And dear God, I pray for Jenny as she sits here and looks at us, that she may know that we are family and we have open hearts to receive what she has to share with us. Thank you for what you have put in her heart to share. And I pray that we will have understanding ears, that we will get from what she shares what you have for us. Bless her time with us.
Thank you. Okay, well, oh yeah, got a little slide there. Just I thought if you got something to look at up there, you might not look at me so much. I was a bit worried. Well, first of all, Alison introduced the idea of encounters with Jesus, and I was like, okay, cool, that's nice, and that's a great way to have everybody sort of share, because you've already got an idea of like something you can talk about instead of having to come up with something from nothing. And when she shoulder tapped me to do one of them, I was like, okay, I could give that a go. And one of the kinds of people in the Gospels mentioned was on her list. So I was like, oh, that's a sign, you talk about them, Mary and Martha. But then, one of the first times that any of us was going to be doing something in this series, it was described in the newsletter as preaching. And I was, okay, I'm not a preacher. My grandfather was a preacher. My father was a preacher. My brother-in-law is a preacher. My sister-in-law has done some preaching. I mean, yeah, my sister. It's not my thing. So I'm not preaching. And into my knowledge, Jesus is not described, preacher is a more modern term, I think. Jesus is not described in the Bible as a preacher. Anybody have the same thought as I do in my mind about what he's usually described as in the Bible? Teacher. We love a teacher. When you're speaking to the crowds, we might think of that as preaching, but his teaching. Unfortunately, I'm not a teacher either. I looked up a little bit from Google to talk about the differences, and I got this nice statement. We can define preaching as the invitational and exhortational proclamation of biblical and theological truth. Teaching, by contrast, is the explanation and explication of biblical and theological truth. Okay. Preaching is monological, while teaching is dialogical. Preaching is communication that moves in only one direction, from the preacher in the pulpit to the hearers in the pews. Teaching, on the other hand, if done well, is dialogical by nature. The communication of content is driven by the teacher, but questions from the hearers shape the conversation and interchange that happens in the classroom. Good teaching is inherently dialogical. Well, I work in a school, and that makes a lot of sense to me. In fact, I'm not a teacher. Okay, so we'll get on to that. I'm not a teacher, but I do work in the school. My job in the school is careers advice and work experience placement things. So I do lots of one-on-one talking, and the odd times when I do have to address a whole class, fills me with the same feeling I have now. Anyway, I walk around the school because we have a lot of, we have sort of a central atrium, inside of a building, and all the classrooms on 2 levels are got all windows, and I can walk around and I can see kids doing music down there, kids doing art in there, kids listening to the economics teacher in there, and it's just like you see all these teachers and they're really into it. The kids are engaged, they're going around, like sometimes they're talking to the whole class, sometimes the kids are working on their things and the teacher's going around and talking to this one and talking to that one, and I'm like, oh my gosh, these people are amazing. Parents have no idea most of the time, but I'm not a teacher. I'm not one of those amazing souls. But there are quite a few good teachers even in this church. But I don't have any formal training in scripture or theology or philosophy or exegesis or pedagogy. And if you don't know what pedagogy means, I didn't before I worked in a school either. So anyway, it just... I'm pleased that the more recent newsletters have been talking about these talks as reflections. That's okay. We can all do a reflection, I think. So what I'm bringing this morning isn't a sermon or a lesson. It's just a reflection. And so I think we can hopefully all do that. We don't really need special training. It's literally just a description of our own response to something that we've read, seen, heard, or experienced. It's good practice, actually, to reflect in any kind of learning situation. So I hope that's a part of why we all come to church. There's a lot of reasons we come to church: to connect with God's family, especially, and to reach out to others, but also to hear from God or to learn something about how He wants us to live. But because I'm used to being in a school and interacting with higher learning institutions, I did Google up what the University of Auckland had to say about how to read reflexively. So they suggest to students who are trying to learn reflexively to ask questions. Do you agree or disagree with the author? Well, I hope we're not going to argue with the Bible authors. How does the material make you feel? What do you find annoying or troublesome? Does it create challenges socially, academically, culturally, or emotionally? Did the author miss anything out? I do feel like that happens in the Bible quite a bit. Just the edited highlights. You wish you were there. And what do you find helpful? What questions does the author leave you with? Question your own assumptions as potential misconceptions. Consider how what you're reading relates to your own or real-world situations. This is particularly useful for theoretical or difficult concepts, as it can really help you understand them. I'm not going to try and do any theoretical or difficult concepts this morning. But the good teachers do make it look easy, but it's not that easy. A big part of a teacher's role is to recognise what understanding the students currently have and then build on it from there. Yeah, as you could think about it like building a house. You can't build the walls without the foundation. You can't put the roof on until the walls are there. And so it's a kind of a matter of, like, if you were actually going to teach, you'd have to sort of have an understanding of where everybody's coming from and how you can move them along. So again, that's why it's probably better that we're doing a reflection this morning, because everybody's probably at different points. But I'm just going to try and provide some thoughts on my own reflection of this story and hope that it says something for you somehow. Right, so today's story is going to be about Mary and Martha. I'm going to start with reading the story, so we're all on the same page about what it's about. And then we have it up here. So try and think about how it makes you feel, what it stands out to you, what aspects of it you relate to. How would you have felt if you were there, whether it speaks to you in any way, what characters in the situation might you relate to. This one is from the NIV. At the home of Martha and Mary. As Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and asked, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me." "Martha, Martha," the Lord answered, "you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." Now, this is the number one story about Mary and Martha that always comes to my mind when they get mentioned. it's not the only story about them in the Bible, and we will touch on the other ones later. But this is the first one that comes to me, and as soon as Alison mentioned doing encounters with Jesus, this story came into my mind. And it's probably largely because I always relate to Martha. And I've always felt sorry for her in this story, and I feel like she was just trying to make everybody feel comfortable, and then she's getting told off by Jesus for it in front of everybody. So we got another picture now of like the traditional view of how, like, when we think of Bible illustrations, it didn't take me long to find this one on the internet. That's lovely, isn't it? And then we can flick to like the view that comes to my mind of here's Martha, aka me, on the left, and Mary having a good time over there listening to Jesus and not doing any of the work. So anyway, I have a theory about this, that Martha was the firstborn, or at least the firstborn girl, because, you know, we know she had a brother Lazarus, and he could have been anywhere in the family because boys would be golden, and definitely not in the kitchen. So he could have been anywhere in the family. But when it comes to Mary and Martha, I'm just betting that Martha was the firstborn. Who in here is the oldest in their family? Well, I think you're in the Mary, Martha, and Lazarus situation, so you can put your hand up there. Well, the only girl, possibly, yeah. So I don't know whether you're going to have the same experience as I do. And I know my parents definitely didn't, parents never do this on purpose, but what happens is the firstborn child is the guinea pig of the parents. It's, the girls doing the work is a sort of a secondary issue, but the firstborn child is one where the parents are very intently focused on, like, how do we do this parenting thing, and what do we do with this baby, and like what's happening now. I mean, I'm going to give this a great example at our church right now. But as they go on and they have more children, and the more children, the more this is, the parents get used to like, okay, like this is something I need to worry about. That's a don't stress it. It'll all come out in the wash. But with the first parent, the first baby and the first time parents, they're like, every little thing, is this a problem? Is it a crisis? What do I need to do about it? And the child is taking all of this on board to some extent. And the sort of the further things get along, the more the whole thing shifts. So the oldest child, has to do certain things, is not allowed to do certain things until they reach certain ages or stages. And then as subsequent kids come along, it tends to be like, oh, anything goes. Oh, you mean you weren't allowed to watch that movie until you're 10? She's 3, she's fine. And you can sort of see it now. Like, for example, she just wandered out again. But you see the difference in the way, like, Danielle with only Lucia to look after, and this is her first child, and, so she's got that versus Juanita having Odette. Is a whole different situation because Juanita has 3 other children, and she's learned a lot about this mummy thing. And so she knows what she's doing, and she knows how to be like so much more relaxed about it, and that does have an impact on like how children grow up, I think, like where they are in their family, what's expected of them, all of those things. And it's very difficult for parents to make that even, no matter how hard they try. Anyway, back to Martha, because I do like to get sidetracked, but that was a point I wanted to make, because this I think this feeds into the whole thing. So like, I think more responsibility, more chores, more duties are usually given to the oldest child. I mean, even in my family, there was only 2 of us, and we're only a year apart, so it wasn't, my parents were trying to be extremely fair, but their idea of like a regular chore was, well, there weren't dishwashers in the 70s. So they did think we could like one wash and one dry for the dishes every night, but that led to too much fighting. So instead it was like, let's have parent on child one-on-one time in the evening. And one parent would wash the dishes while one of us had to dry. And so we each, as Like from the age of 5, we got a drying night. So being the oldest, like say I got Mondays, and the next year my sister turned 5 and she got Tuesdays, and then I turned 6 and I got Mondays and Wednesdays. Well, you know, the week hasn't got an even number of days. So guess who was doing 4 nights versus 3 nights? Anyway. And it's just, and also like, yeah, you just end up by being the one who always feels like it is your job to do these things. So anyway, a little bit of research tells me also that hospitality is a very big deal in the Jewish tradition. And so we've got another slide, a little picture of that, I hope. Oh, no, this is about, no, go back to the other slide. I skipped that one. So, no, the one you had, yes, that word cloud, that would kind of sum up like how I feel like I was brought up to be. And yet I actually didn't ever really feel like service was my gifting. We used to talk about spiritual gifts at church and things, and I was like, I know I should do it, but I don't love to do it. But all of those things is kind of like, well, that, you know, it's your duty, that's what you should do, that's what's expected. And I was definitely brought up with a do what you have to do before you do what you want to do, which has served me well in terms of like getting stuff done, getting like at least the important things done, like actually preparing this before this morning. You know, I actually did it a week ago, you know, but so like, you know, with homework, with study, with housework, with the life admin that really does need to get done, I do have it really ingrained in me, like you have to do these things and you can't just sit around and do what you feel like doing when there's something that really has to be done. So that does serve you well, but then sometimes you can tip too far the other way. So anyway, and I also then found, which is the next slide now, the hospitality is apparently, don't know if I can call on my Jewish expert here, apparently has a pretty strong value in the Hebrew Jewish tradition, but actually I think that it would have been anywhere, especially in that point of time, because without having kind of like, you know, supply chains and supermarkets everywhere and, you know, ready consumables like we do, people travelling around on foot and things, coming to a new place, they can't carry all of their food with them. They are reliant on the hospitality of others. And in fact, that still exists in the societies around the world. I mean, we all have hospitality, but it's kind of more of an imperative, you could say, in some places, especially in, say, the Middle Eastern areas or other areas where they don't readily grow a wide amount of food. You can't just, you know, pull a banana off the tree as you're walking past. There's wastelands and things. My brother-in-law went to Mongolia for a work trip a few years ago, and he said that he learned when he was there that the traditional Mongolian greeting translated as, have you eaten? So when you first encounter someone, first thing, have you eaten? Because if you haven't, that's our first thing to do. So, Dan, did you want to have a go at pronouncing that?
Yeah, that would be like something like
Cool.
Just do this like
Well, it sounds good. And it's certainly, I think, any read of the Gospels, there's hospitality everywhere. In fact, all through the Bible, even like in the Old Testament, someone's always preparing food for somewhere, and it gets mentioned a lot. It is important. You probably don't have to think too hard to find zillions of instances of where food is being provided, and it's actually important enough to be recorded in heaps of situations. So, like, yeah, in the pre-modern world without ubiquitous hotels and rapid transport, wayfarers were often dependent on those whom they encountered en route. Jewish communities traditionally provided for Jews passing through their locales, whether they were indigent or simply in transit. These traditions of hospitality persist today. So, it's according to Google, so take it as you like, it's considered one of the more important Jewish values. So it seems to me like Martha was really acting in line with her upbringing, following family, cultural expectations. She believed she was honouring Jesus and the other guests. But he held up Mary as the standard that she should aspire to. And I don't know about you, but I would have felt really stung if Jesus said that to me. I would have responded just like Martha did, like, surely 4 hands are better than 2, and if she comes and helps me, this will all be done in like 20 minutes, half an hour, instead of me being stuck out there. And it's not like I don't want to listen to you, Jesus. It's like, I just don't want to be sitting there looking at all these hungry people. It's just rude. I can't do it. So, I don't know. I mean, it would have been even worse if Mary was the sort of sister that's always trying to get out of doing anything she doesn't want to do. I mean, everybody knows somebody like that. And so I'm sure she was expecting Jesus to be on her side and just sort of tell her, like, she's not going to take it from me, but she'll take it from Jesus. And then that's not what he did. But he must have known what was in their hearts, and his response was just the opposite. To, like, really the opposite. He didn't even he basically cut her down for the stance that she was taking. And so that's only a few verses, but it must be in there for a reason. And so then I was thinking, like, how can I reconcile this? How can I make sense of it in a way that I feel happy with the outcome? And so then some other stories of where Jesus was present and catering was needed came to my mind. The very first miracle that Jesus performed was where he turned the water into wine at the wedding. And we know about that. And then we also know about the feeding of the 5,000. And when I looked that up, it suggested that chronologically that would have happened earlier than this meeting as well, because they sort of know when Jesus was here and when he was there. And and we can imagine that because of all the way people flocked to see Jesus, they knew where he was. The stories about Jesus were definitely getting transmitted around. So it's not unreasonable to assume that Mary and Martha had probably heard about the wedding and or the feeding of the 5,000, if not both. So then that gives you some pause. It stands to reason then that Martha could have taken the attitude from the start or at any time that Jesus could provide the catering. Now that, we got a picture of that as well. So I am not surprised that did not enter her mind. If someone was coming to my place, if I had invited people to my place, I don't usually expect that they are going to bring the catering. I mean, if it's going to be a potluck, I'm going to tell them that, but I'm not expecting them to bring it all and then, I'm not even contributing. I have heard of some people doing that. It's generally considered rude. I mean, sometimes if people make a specific offer, that's fine. But you don't normally invite people to your house and then say, why didn't you bring food to my house? That's not really how it's done in any society, as far as I'm aware. And so, yeah. But at the same time, she could have prepared. I'm sure she would have prepared at least some snacks before they came, so it's not like, but she was probably doing like a 4-course meal or something out there. And of course, everything was by hand and, over a fire and whatever, probably milked the cow, turned it into cheese, whatever. It's a big job preparing food, but I think she missed a massive opportunity. It could have gone a completely different way. She could have even said, oh, excuse me, Jesus, I'm hanging on to every word, but I'm feeling really bad that, like I had plans to make more food and I'm going to have to go back to the kitchen now, so excuse me. Or something like that. See, that, even if she'd framed it that way, that would have been better. But she just said the first thing that came into her mind, which is like, I am doing all of this work. She's not helping me. She's my sister. She lives here too. Come and help. And yeah, so like she just missed whatever Jesus would have done. And I'm thinking, I think that's the lesson. That's the lesson I'm taking away. It doesn't have to be yours, but it is a lesson I'm taking away. Number one, she's putting her expectations on Jesus instead of waiting to see what he might want to do. And then she's also getting upset with his answer, which is another thing we might. I think I've known that to happen as well. So I went way off piece. I'm just trying to figure out where I was going to get up to now. Yeah. So sometimes we might, if we're expecting God to do something in a particular way, we might miss out on the way he actually wants to do it. Depending on what we do, we might even cut that possibility off. And that can happen anytime, any place, in any kind of interactions. And some of us, I'm the one sitting here, some of us can be clumsy with our words sometimes. There's just so many times we might miss an opportunity because we're too busy thinking about what needs to be done. Or like a question comes into our mind and we ask it without thinking that could have been said better. Like how Martha asked Jesus. Like she could have said it in a different way and then she possibly would have received a different outcome or a gentler outcome. And I just think of times when, you even around the church, if someone new comes in and, you've never seen them before, the first thought is like, how did they come to be here? But like, you don't want to ask them, how are you here? I mean, you just need to think of a better way of saying it, like, oh, what brings you here this morning? Or so pleased to see you. My name is, or just, hi, how are you? And then like sort of watch them and see if they already know anybody here or something. Or if people bring things to the op shop and they just leave a whole stuff there and it's just a mess and you're like, oh my gosh, so much more stuff to sort out and we've got too much stuff in there already. And you could, like, it's just, in the moment it's like that's what you're thinking. But then it would be like, could we be putting people off? Like bringing anything at all. Like if people stop bringing stuff, we won't have anything to sell in the op shop. So like all op shops are burdened with this problem. And people are posting on it on the Newland and Titterang Facebook, Glen Eden pages all the time. But it's like, well, we're the ones that have to give them grace. They're the ones who are bringing something. And yes, it possibly is all rubbish. Or maybe we don't really have space. But that's still... We're still the representatives of this church that they are seeing when they come here and they drop off their whatever it is. And some of it could be good. So we just have to think, what would Jesus literally have said to that person? He probably wouldn't have said, we've got too much stuff, take it away. He probably would have just nodded and smiled and gone, that's fine, get another skip. So there's just all of these little things that, just happen every day. And we, without even thinking about it, we're just thinking about what we need to do, what the task is at hand, all the extra work that people can create for us. But that's not how God looks at it. That's not how Jesus is looking at it. He's just all about the people. All about the people, the relationship first, and everything else comes later. And that's hard for me because I know that there's, like, some people are more task-focused and some people are more people-focused. And having worked in many different places, because, teaching was not my calling, I've worked in small companies, I've worked in bigger companies, and I am more of a task-focused person. And you really notice it when you move into a different environment where different kinds of personalities are attracted to working there. When I started working at school, I had never been with so many kind of people who put people first, who were like nice, like who... Honestly, that there's 2 or 3 or 4 of us that are more task-focused. We know who we are. With those people, and then there's everybody else. and everybody else knows who we are as well. It's like if you want to go and get something done, you give it to that person or that person, and one person becomes the DP of administration, and another one becomes the head of business, and those are the people who get stuff done, and you give it to them, and everybody else though is like, oh, you need your duty covered? Sure, I'll do another duty this week. I've only done 4 so far. Why not do some more? And, they're just about the person and what they need. And I'm in awe of that because I'm not built that way. But anyway, some of us I'll see people in the corridor and my first thought is, I need to tell that person such and such. I've heard of something that they need to know. And I have to tell myself to remember to say, hi, Jess, first, before it says, Jess, you need to know this. So anyway, this is why I'm connecting with Martha. But shall we get on to another story about them? Because they are highlighted Mary and Martha are highlighted into other stories that did happen after this first one. So the next time we meet them is when their brother Lazarus has died. I have no idea about the time period between these things. Did not study in depth to know this kind of stuff. And this time the tables are kind of turned, and it's Martha who comes across as more attuned to Jesus. So we'll read that story, and I abridged it. There was actually a lot of other things happening in this story as well, so we're just going to focus on the Mary Martha part. Now, a man named Lazarus was sick. He was from Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. So the sisters sent word to Jesus, Lord, the one you love is sick. Could probably read a bunch of stuff into that too, but we're not going there right now. When he heard this, Jesus said, this sickness will not end in death. No, it's for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it. Now, Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. Oh, hello. Mary doesn't even get a name in this sentence. Jesus loved Martha. And she gets mentioned first. Well, this is a come up for the book. So, so when he heard that Lazarus was sick, he stayed where he was for 2 more days. And then he said to his disciples, let us go back to Judea. Well, we're all wondering about what he's doing here. Lucky we get to find out, ages later when it's already happened. So then we miss out a bit. And he went on to tell them, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I'm going there to wake him up. Now, I bet his disciples all thought that was a weird turn of phrase because, his sisters anyone can wake him up. Doesn't need to be you. But, yeah, his disciples replied, Lord, if he sleeps, he'll get better. Sleeping is good when you're unwell, in case you weren't sure. Jesus had been speaking of his death, but his disciples thought he meant natural sleep, as you would when he used the word sleep. So then he told them plainly, Lazarus is dead, and for your sake I am glad I was not there, so that you may believe. But let us go to him. They're thinking, well, okay, can't wait to see what's going to happen next. On his arrival, Jesus found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. Now, Bethany was less than 2 miles from Jerusalem, and many Jews had come to Martha and Mary to comfort them in the loss of their brother. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went out to meet him, but Mary stayed at home. Now, that's interesting, isn't it? So she's not so burnt from the last encounter that she's going to stay home and sulk. But for some reason, Mary stayed home. Martha's like, I'm going to go see him. I'm going to go and I don't know whether she was actually angry with Jesus and that's why she wanted to go and see him, because it's quite possible task focus. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to be, Lord, what's going on? Almost, Lord, Martha said to Jesus, if you had been here, my brother would not have been died. Now, how I wish I knew what tone of voice she said that in. Was it like, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died? Or was it like, Lord, if you'd been here, he would have died? See how much difference the tone makes? That makes a huge difference. Anyway, but then she fortunately followed that up with, but I know that even now God will give you whatever you ask. So there's a lot of faith right there. And acceptance. Like, so she's laid it as is, and honestly, like, they would have been really upset because they thought, I mean, obviously everybody thought they were close to Jesus, but he'd been to their house. They'd had these other interactions. They thought, and he is described as a close friend, like that they were some of his closer people. He might have sat at their house lots of times, and we only heard about the one. I don't know. But she had a right to be upset. I mean, she knows he's healed sick people. He's been healing sick people everywhere. Lazarus was probably too sick to go to where he was. And so they had sent word, hoping that Jesus would come to them, which was not unreasonable. And then he didn't come. And then he finally does come. But like, we've already buried him. We had the funeral. You didn't even come to the funeral. And now you're here. I'm not sure, like, well, you're just going to like give us some tea and sympathy now. Do I need to go back to the kitchen and make a cake? Still mourning my brother. Here you are. But she's thinking, I'm sure she's thinking these things. I would definitely be thinking these things. And yet she's following it up with at least faith and acceptance. Okay, you didn't come. Could have healed him. Could have come. Didn't come to the funeral. But you've come now, and I'm going to accept whatever it is. Whatever it is that you're here now for, and whatever it is that God, is this our lot? Because, I mean, not only would they be mourning him from the whole family, personal, emotional connection, but we don't know how many other family members they had. Was he their only brother? Like, this might leave them as women quite vulnerable. We have no idea what age they were or their marital situation or anything. But if they don't have husbands that were mentioned at all, they seem to be living in the same house. Maybe Lazarus was their protector and provider. I don't know. But anyway, Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. And Martha answered, again, good faith going on here, I know he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day. She's doing well here. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die, and whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this? Yes, Lord, she replied. I don't know how long she hesitated, if at all. I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, who is to come into the world. After she had said this, she went back and called her sister Mary aside. The teacher is here, she said, and is asking for you. When Mary heard this, she got up quickly and went to him. I don't know what she'd been doing in the meantime. Crying? Sulking? I don't know. Now, Jesus had not yet entered the village, but was still at the place where Martha had met him, up the road. When the Jews who had been with Mary in the house, comforting her, noticed how quickly she got up and went out, they followed her, supposing that she was going to the tomb to mourn there. When Mary reached the place where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet and said, Lord, if you'd been here, my brother would not have died. There's an echo in here. When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who had come along with her also weeping, he was deeply moved in spirit and troubled. Wow, they were pretty sad, and he felt sad that they were sad. Where have you laid him? He asked. Come and see, Lord, they replied. And Jesus wept. So that was that encounter. And from here, we know what happened. Well, hopefully we all do. Spoiler alert, he raised Lazarus from the dead. I see I've missed a couple of slides. Oh, I actually missed a whole section. Sorry. Can we go back to the thing I was going, it will still fit in now well. That one, yeah. Oh no, it fits in here. The American researcher and author, or an American researcher and author, whose name I forgot to write down here, but it's not important, he coined the phrase, good is the enemy of great. to apply to the situations where what we know and we're aiming to do because it's a good thing to do might get in the way of something that's better, a better thing to do. It can apply to being too rigid and enforcing rules instead of taking a more big picture view, or sticking to what's familiar instead of risking something new. And once again, I see this in myself. I was going to say that was the preamble I was supposed to be doing before I talked about how we welcome people at church and things like that. So, I didn't know that was a mobile picture. That's even more fun now, isn't it? Okay, so coming back to Lazarus now. So then we talked about that, so we can go on to back to Lazarus at the tomb. So Jesus did raise Lazarus from the dead, and there are other discussions between Jesus and his disciples about the matter before he got to Bethany that I left out because I just wanted to focus on these guys. This time it was Martha who came out to meet Jesus on the road, and Mary stayed in the house, and she was being proactive, task-focused, probably does seem to fit in with what we know about her. She's a doer. She doesn't want to just sit around. She wants to be like, well, what can we do? What can be done here? They'd called for Jesus before Lazarus had died. They had faith that he would heal him, but it didn't occur to them that Jesus would be able to do anything else after he died. I mean, this has never happened before, right? So they just that was just a bridge too far to think about anything like that. Martha was the one who came out to see him, showing that she did have faith in him, whatever the outcome. It seemed to me that maybe she learned something from that earlier encounter, to just have faith. I really wonder what Martha would have reflected on that heaps, I reckon, what happened at the first time. Like, why did Jesus say that to me? Like, why shouldn't I have been doing, like, sure, I knew, it wasn't that I didn't want to listen to him. It wasn't, it was just that I thought this needed to be done. And I'd love to know how far that reflection went and what that made her decide that she should do going forward. She's obviously welcome any chance to hear more from Jesus, get to know more about, like, what should I be doing. Probably a little bit competitive with her sister too. Like, she can't be the one that gets it right all the time. So, yeah, I don't know. But something had led her to what happened this time. And so I think she was stronger in her faith for it. I also wonder why Mary stayed in the house. What was she thinking? Was she just so caught up in her grief that was it? That she had maybe even more, like, she's already got the grief about the fact that Lazarus had died, probably got even more grief about the fact that Jesus hadn't come. There'd be, a lot of, like, if onlys going on here. So they probably felt quite neglected. She might have been resentful. But I think Jesus must have had a pretty soft spot for Mary, because he doesn't rebuke her apparent lack of faith in this situation, but he's just deeply moved by her grief. Maybe she's just one of those people who's all warmth and empathy and not much in the way of words in the first place. Maybe she's... Anyway, but she did say he wouldn't have died. But it's a typical example for us about how God not answering our prayers the way we think. And I bet I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, but I bet there's no one in this room who hasn't had a prayer go apparently unanswered because it was not answered the way we would have wanted it to be. That's what these people felt like, I'm sure. I mean, they've basically said it to him exactly. I mean, they've said, if you'd done this, this wouldn't have happened. You could have done this. Why don't you do this? And we're not... Okay, so in this case, he then does heal Lazarus. So they do get the outcome they were hoping for, which is not the same for all of us. We don't necessarily get a great outcome that wasn't what we expected but was better. Well, at least not in this life. Do we have to wait? Do we have to wait till a future time? You know, when people in our lives pass away and they're not saved, what can you do? What can you do about that? All you can do is be hoping that you have done everything that you can to make sure the people in your life that you love at least know about God, have the opportunity to know him. Because at least if they know him and then they're not with us anymore, we still have an eternal hope with them. But otherwise, I wasn't actually going to go down that road, so sorry. Anyway, then we have like the just the whole reminder that I was trying to find a picture better than this. This is the picture though that I ended up with. I wanted to find one of those cool ones where you've got a whole image and then you just zero in on a little part of it and it looks like one thing, and then when you zoom out you can see that it's actually something else, but sorry, I didn't find that. So I may do with this, which is like where we can just focus on like the rubbish in the skip that's right there, or we can see that there is rubbish there, but look at that outstanding view behind. You know, like it is a blot in the landscape, but that doesn't take away from the amazingness of the landscape and the creation that is there. So can go on to the third and final time that we hear about Mary and Martha again, which is only a week before Jesus died. And he comes back to their house where the sisters are putting on a dinner in Jesus' honour. Perhaps they were both in the kitchen this time. Anyway, they had actually put on a dinner in his honour, so that was the plan. There was lots of people there because they were all coming to see that Lazarus raised from the dead. And here's the account in John 12. 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany where Lazarus lived, whom Jesus had raised from the dead. Here a dinner was given in Jesus' honour. Martha served, surprise, while Lazarus was among those reclining at the table with him. Then Mary took a pint of pure nard, an expensive perfume. She poured it on Jesus' feet and wiped his feet with her hair, and the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. But one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, what a surprise, who was later to betray him, objected, "Why wasn't this perfume sold and the money given to the poor? It was worth a year's wages." Well, we already know from other stories that I'm sure I'm not spoiling that Judas was money-oriented, and this is possibly a very early example of virtue signalling. Oh, look, we could have done this. I mean, if they had been sold, I probably would have pocketed half of it. That's what Judas is probably thinking, and then I would have given some to the poor. But anyway, because it actually goes on to say this. He did not say this because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. As keeper of the money bag, he used to help himself to what was put into it. So anyway, leave her alone, Jesus replied. It was intended that she should save this perfume for the day of my burial. You will always have the poor among you, but you will not always have me. And boy, that bloke needed a reprimand, and he got off lightly in that situation. But I wonder how much Jesus knew about it. I mean, I guess Jesus knew what was going to come next. So didn't have to deal with him any further because the problem was soon quickly going to resolve itself. But in the meantime, I wonder how much ripping off Judas had already been doing. But in this story, when we just come back to what Mary and Martha are doing, the focus is more on Mary this time. Martha's there and she's serving again, but this time she's not complaining about having too much work to do. They've chosen to have this dinner, and it's quite hopeful, possible, likely, that it was all mainly prepared before people arrived, and Mary probably did help. Each of them is showing their love and appreciation during the evening in their own way. Martha is serving, she's comfortable doing that, but Mary is adoring Jesus with her perfume, tears, and heartfelt gratitude. She probably still can't get over what's happened with Lazarus, you know, and all of the realizations and reflections that she would have had on, like, oh, so he actually didn't come while we were grieving, he didn't come, but it was on purpose because he was actually planning to raise Lazarus from the dead. Like, can you get your head around that? Like that would have been massive. I think that Martha would have accepted that more easily. Would have been like, oh, wow, okay, cool. So he could have healed him, but he had to do something. He wanted to do something better. Okay, I'm good with that. I mean, I had quite a few days of heartsick, but I see what he did there. Whereas Mary, if she was a much more sort of deep thinking, emotional kind of one, then it would have been a lot for her to process. And I can imagine the two sisters could have had quite a different whole way of handling that. And like they didn't know he was going to die. And yet Mary was doing something which was recognised as like a death preparation ritual kind of thing. So anyway, I can't even remember what my last slide was, but I think there's one more. Is there? Oh yeah, this classic kind of picture. So just like reflecting on the sisters in the three stories, you can see each of their personalities and gifts coming through and how they each use theirs to worship and serve Jesus in their own ways. But they don't get it right all the time. Neither of them gets it right all the time. None of us gets it right all the time. And they both have something to learn, from Jesus and even maybe from each other. And I just think that this is probably one of the messages that we can take from all of the stories of encounters with Jesus, just is that we all bring what we have, but we can all learn something from each other and learn something more from Jesus about how to use what we have well, how to smooth the rough edges, how to just like if we're so people focused that we never get anything done, then that's got just a bit of a disadvantage in the same way as if we're too task focused that we forget about the people. That's not good either. The extremes are never the ideal. So there's always somewhere to go in the middle, and something that we need to be remembering to ask God to help us with. How we can keep our focus on Jesus and have him direct our plans and our interactions. So that's my reflection. Thank you. Can I take this?
Derek, I'm a teacher, you're a recovering teacher. What were your reflections on that wonderful...
I thought it was excellent.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jenny.
I thought so too. Well, I was wondering about the characterisation of teachers as a little bit ineffectual, perhaps, sort of... No. We get stuff done, eh, Derek?
Yeah.
Watch this. Prepared it last night.
I was
it's
kind
all
of
good.
thinking about where do I fit in that sort of spectrum of someone who's immensely practical and pragmatic and someone who's creative and dreamy,
Yeah.
But
Jenny's pretty dreamy. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, Simon. Yeah. You made us laugh a lot for a pragmatic person, though. You didn't fit the stereotype. It was... Right. Do we believe in Jesus? Should we sing about it?
I believe he is the Son of God. I believe he died and rose again. I believe he paid for us all. And I believe that he's here now. I believe that he's standing in our midst. Here with the power to heal now, with the power and the grace to forgive. I believe in you, Lord. I believe you are the Son of God. I believe you died and rose again. I believe you paid for us all. I believe that you're here now. Believe that you're here, standing in our midst. Here with the power to heal now, with the power and the grace to forgive. I believe in you, Lord. I believe you are the Son of God. I believe you died and rose again. I believe you paid for us all. And I believe that you're here now. I believe that you're standing in our midst. Here with the power to heal now, with the power to heal, and the grace to forgive, and the grace, and the grace to forgive, and the grace to forgive.
Speaking of grace, isn't it amazing?
See what you did there?
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound to save a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. The Lord hath promised good to me. His word my hope secures. He will my shield and portion be, as long as life endures. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound to save a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now can see.
Thank you, Jenny, for sharing so insightfully about Mary and Martha. This blessing that I'm going to pray for us at the end of the service comes from a similar situation of Mary and Martha looking back at the rising from the dead of their brother Lazarus and the impact of that. We're in a season at the moment, a church season, of looking back at the resurrection. It's called Eastertide. It goes for as long as Lent on the other side. And it gives us time to really focus on the resurrection and the change that that's made for us. And this blessing comes from this season, is for this season. The Lord of the empty tomb, the conqueror of gloom, come to you. The Lord in the garden walking, the Lord to Mary talking, come to you. The Lord in the upper room, dispelling fear and doom, come to you. The Lord on the road to Emmaus, the Lord giving hope to Thomas, come to you. The Lord appearing on the shore, giving us life forevermore, come to you. May your week be blessed.
Thank you so much, Derek. Always such a pleasure. How you going?